not surprised in a certain way. What I'm trying to say, and maybe the better way to answer that, is these plans are always cultivated, always. And like Waleed said, it hasn't just started recently. This has been going on for years and years and years. And the mentality with this group of people, if you want to call them a group of people, with the Muslim general population, the people themselves are not the ones that are hatching these. What you have are the Muslim leaders in some of these countries, terrorist organizations who are mobilizing youth, corrupting their minds, raising money, organizing cells, organizations, gathering them together, plotting against the United States and Israel simultaneously. Anyone who would stop Islam from spreading around the world, or anything to destroy America and Israel in any which way. So how could I be surprised? I mean, it's always being planned, but America now has tightened security. Right now they use America as a base to gather and raise millions and millions of dollars to funnel into various organizations. And I'm sure you've heard of the multiple ongoing cases there are today with...
Zach, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. We just turned the subject now about what can be done. The president has said, let's take it to the terrorists. Let's take it to the front line. The front line, the war on terrorism is Iraq. Is that the answer, Zach?
Yes, I believe that what Mr. Bush have done is the right way, although I believe within myself that he is too lean a little bit. He should have been more aggressive, and they should have finished the job a long time ago.
You have to understand, terrorists do things for a reason. If they put a bombing in Spain and they get the positive reaction they want, then it's going to increase. What happened after September 11, America hit them and hit them hard. And they know now there's repercussions. It won't work out for them. If they do more terrorism attack here, it's going to be worse for them. That's why it's concentrated in Iraq. That's why Bush is right. You take you take the war on their turf, not on our turf.
Ibrahim, there was once a famous a scholar out of the Midwest said that if you come at me with a gun, I'll come at you with a knife. If you come at with me a knife, I'll come at you with a bomb. And the cycle continues. What does this country have to do to try and protect itself best from terrorists? Do we have to go to the Middle East and try and convince the minds of the leaders, and especially the youth, that we're not the enemy?
Well, of course. I mean, that's education is always part of it, but as much as a lot of people do not want to talk about it or hear about it, we do need to be aggressive. That is the only, you see, the mentality of the culture that we're discussing here understands retaliation, understands, in other words, if we retaliate and then they know that there are ramifications for their actions, then they would be much less, prompting them to attack the United States and Israel. For instance, Israel has a reputation for revenge, reputation for retaliating in a harsh way. And so, yes, we hear about multiple attacks in Israel, but every day that goes by, you don't hear about the hundreds and hundreds that are stopped.
Well, let me ask you this question. We have a huge military force right now in Iraq, arresting and when needed, using force against Al-Qaeda there, and it doesn't seem to be stopping the attacks. There are tens and dozens of people killed every single day by roadside bombs.
I mean, listen, Churchill said it right regarding Nazi Germany. You know, this system, it's like Nazism. It's the same way. You treat it the same way. When we were giving concessions to Hitler in the Munich Accord, nobody liked what Churchill said. He says we've been given a choice between shame and between war. Shame, that is, kowtowing to it, and between war, taking them out right now. We have chosen shame, and we'll end up in war. We can choose other direction. We can get out of Iraq. We can create a Palestinian state.
So you're comparing radical Islam to Nazi Germany. That's what you want our viewers to make that comparison?
Well, there is no respect for borders. The end justifies the means. This is the same dogma as you have in extremist communist movements and the Nazi movements. It's the same thing. It hasn't changed. It's a theocracy. It's an autocracy. It is not a democratic system. You never had a democratic system in any of the 55 Muslim countries. It is difficult to establish democracy unless you have strength in that land.
Let me ask you this question, you three gentlemen. I mean, how's your response? How's been the response to your thoughts, your philosophies, and the message you're sharing with the public among Muslims here in the United States and among Muslims back at home?
Well, the majority, first of all, the majority of the Muslims do support radical organizations. For instance, you can look at poll after poll after poll, and unfortunately, the majority of them do support people like Osama bin Laden. They support Hamas. They support Hezbollah. I would say anywhere from 60 to 75%, depending on the country. Nevertheless, that's what you're dealing with.
So what you're saying is that when you go to other Muslims, you're sitting in the cafe, you're having a drink, you're having a cup of coffee, and you say, look, I think Bush is right to go into the Middle East and hit him hard. And radical Islam is similar to Nazism. These people are crazy. They're ruining our youth. Well, what do they say to you? Are they saying, look, we agree with you, or are they saying, you know, get away?
There's something missing in your question. We can't go to a cafe where there's Middle Easterners and Muslims and all these things. If we can give you the rap sheet of what happens to us, if we'd go there, you won't believe it. If I can quote you the threats that happened to Zach and Abraham and myself.
Your lives have been threatened. That's what you're telling us.
Let me give you an answer for that, please, because me, as an evangelist in the streets, and I've been speaking about this subject at least 17 years old, 17 years ago, as you said, in the coffee shops and the streets. The last thing happened, my friend, the very last thing is an attack on me in the street, and they burned my car, and they tried to burn my house.
So what you're saying?
And I had to change my phone twice so far. Someone even rushed after my daughters in the street and switched a knife against them.
All right. So, gentlemen, why speak out? Why speak out? Waleed, you're in the middle?
This is the only nation that we can live in. I mean, America, the Western countries, this is the future of our children. Yes. It is the only hope that we have. Where am I going to live? Am I going to live in London? Am I going to live in France? You tell me, where am I going to live? America is the only place that we can live, people with conscientious objection. I can't go to the streets of Ramallah and carry a poster that says, I condemn suicide bombing. I'll be lynched within seconds. The Americans have no concept of what's happening in the Middle East. They look at the media. They don't understand what's happening. You can't go to a bus stop in Cairo or Syria or Damascus and say, and put a kippah on your head, say, I'm Jewish. Or say I'm against terrorism. As a matter of fact, look at one country like Jordan. It's considered a moderate country in America. In a poll, 61% of Jordanians support Osama bin Laden. This is huge. And if you look after the bombing in Jordan, what were they saying on television? They were saying, after what Zarqawi did, now we don't support him anymore. Which means if he only killed Americans, it would have been okay. Now that he's killing Arabs, that's when the buck stops. That's when the buck ends.
Waleed Shobat, Ibrahim Abdullah, Zach Anani. We want to thank you, gentlemen, very much for sharing this time with us.
Anytime.